Hi fellow history enthusiasts, and welcome to the Detecting History podcast about all things buried and ancient. Hey everyone, I'm your host Katie McDoyle. How have you all been on this glorious week? I hope you've been well. What have I been up to? Well, I've been out digging, of course. Yeah, if you haven't seen on my Instagram account, my digging Instagram account, I've been playing with the new Go Terrain amp, which was launched by XP. Not sponsored. As you know, I've got an XP ORX, so when I saw it was available, I thought I'd give it a go, and I love it. Anyone can use it. You can just hit go on the app. It's available on iOS and Android phones. And it just tracks exactly where you've been. So a bit like Google Maps or something. It tracks where you are in the field. You don't need to mark out where you've been or where you want to dig. But if you want to, you can mark out an area, which is really interesting. And it will buzz you if you step out of that area. So if you're looking for a certain footpath or you've seen something on LiDAR, it will help you keep within that area so you don't just wander off in the wrong direction. I've done 8 kilometres in one field so far, and it looks like I've barely touched it. The added bonus, if you do have an XP machine, is that you can link the app to your coil and it will auto-register signals for you depending on how you set it up. And then, of course, there's the option to add photos and more information about a certain find once you find something amazing. If you want to see how I'm getting, my Instagram account is Katie_metal_detects. And then also friend of the show, Darren Booth, who is history__unearthed, is also giving it a go. I know he's having some success, so go and have a look at his account and see how he's getting on with the app too. But yeah, highly recommend it, so go and have a look if you can. What else have I been up to? I've been a bit quiet on the socials this week as I was lucky enough to go to Ibiza for a few days. I've just left my previous role, my job, so we thought we'd go and have a quick break so I could defrag a little bit. And I tell you what, that island is beautiful, never been before. 28 degrees, and we went into Ibiza Old Town, where there is Ibiza Castle, which is very high up on a very steep hill. It's totally worth it. There's some archaeological digs that revealed foundations from 12th and 13th century, from when the Arabs first built it. Moorish occupancy, very interesting place, beautiful. I'll put some posts up on the Detecting History podcast and stuff for that one so you can see what I'm talking about. But it was lovely. If you ever get the chance, you have to go. If you've been keeping an eye on our Instagram, Detecting History Podcast, you will see that each week I mention and give a shout out to the various countries that are listening. As a podcast creator, you get to see where people are listening from. So I thought I'd mention and do a bit of a roll call on the podcast. So welcome to all the listeners from the UK, United States, Belgium, Germany, Spain, Sweden, Mexico, Nicaragua, Australia, Canada, Finland and the Netherlands. Truly humbled and glad that there's so many people from around the world listening to the podcast. It's fantastic. We're one big happy community together. So yeah, if you're from anywhere in the world, UK and abroad, please get in contact and let us know how detecting is in your country. We'd really love to hear from you all. So I'm going to be doing a new little section each week at the beginning of the show where we do some shout outs and finds of the week. So please contact me if you want to give a shout out to anybody or let me know about a find of the week. But this week I'll kick things off. I've been paying close attention to my followers on Instagram, and I can congratulate the Metal Detective 2023. Well done on ending your coin drought, finding a beautiful Roman and a lovely George V silver. There you go. Just keep digging and you'll soon find the round things in the ground. Well done to you. Time for our guest, and this week we're joined by the wonderful Buffy Winship Bailey. Buffy I know from the Facebook and detecting group, the Sassy Searchers, which is a ladies detecting group. Buffy will talk to us about how detecting helps her with her PTSD post being a nurse during the pandemic. Buffy, who with a master's in environmental and biochemical toxicology, shares with us how she was told she couldn't metal detect or have a chemistry set when she was a child, so she's really shown them. And we hear all about her magnificent find of a small gold book that would have been on the end of a silk bookmark that potentially could have been connected to the household of Richard III. Enjoy! Welcome everybody to the Detecting History podcast. We've got the wonderful Buffy with us today. Hi Buffy, how are you doing?
Hi, okay, thank you.
Good stuff. Now Buffy, you are a metal detectorist and I know you through the wonderful Facebook group, the Sassy Searchers. I'd really encourage any ladies out there, if you're not sure of a group to go and check out the Sassy Searchers. A wonderful group where you can go and just be yourself, get lots of information on detecting. There's often some events run throughout the year. And also then when you find your sassy sister, shall we say, it's great because then you'll often locate each other when you're off on other group digs and things because you'll see someone with a Sassy Searchers t-shirt on. So welcome, Buffy. How did you get into detecting yourself and how did you become a member on the Sassy Searchers?
Well, I got into detecting when my brother got a metal detector when either he was 8 or I was 8. And he was having a lot of fun on the beach at Weston-super-Mare where I grew up with our family. And I think it was his birthday present. And I asked if I could have a go, and I was told no because you're a girl.
Oh no!
No. So yeah, I mean that kind of stuck in my mind, and I held it as a grudge, and thought when I'm grown up, my 8-year-old self thought I'm going to get a metal detector, and anyway, I kind of forgot about it a little bit, and then I remembered, I think it was actually just before the Detectorist series came out. So it wasn't because of that. It just seemed to happen at the same time.
Yeah.
And I bought a small, cheap metal detector and went on the beach at Morecambe Bay and I found a tin can and 20 pence.
Wow.
And I was so happy.
That's
really
it, isn't
enjoyed
it?
myself. Yeah. And then took that detector around a bit. It was a C-scope, but didn't find all that much. Went on to Facebook to do some research to local areas to find out a bit of the history around here, and found out that there was a Motte and Bailey castle around here and lots of history, and decided I needed a better metal detector. But that one that I bought was quite heavy, and I found it difficult to be out for any more than maybe an hour. And that was a Garrett AT Pro. But it carried on, and I joined a few groups, and there was Harv Facebook group, and I went along to one of their digs, and John Ferguson was really welcoming and so helpful, and he put me into a group of 4 other people, and they were just brilliant, and we would spend the whole day just going around chatting and just really having a laugh. It was brilliant, and I met Michelle Val there.
The lovely Michelle.
Yeah. And I kept going to that group, and I found my first Victorian penny, and a couple of the guys in the group were there when I found it, and they were so happy for me, and I was over the moon, and it was brilliant, so supportive. And then I went on and I found a silver sixpence, Victorian one, and I was really hooked by them. It was just such a good feeling to find something, and then go and do lots of research on it.
Yeah.
And yeah, so that's how I met Michelle. And I think round about that time, she started up the Sassy Searchers. So I was one of the original members of that.
An OG. I love it.
Yeah. So that's how I got into it. That's how I got into metal detecting, and then I upgraded and upgraded.
Okay, we'll talk about all your gear in a second. So that's a fascinating story. You were told you couldn't because you were a girl.
Oh,
Wow.
I know.
It's the
Those are the
first
days. I was told I couldn't have a
example.
train set as well because I was a girl, and a chemistry
Oh,
set.
oh goodness. So did you also get yourself a train set and a chemistry set? I hope
I've
so,
got
if not
my,
this Christmas.
well, I got myself a chemistry master's, so maybe that's.
I think, ladies and gentlemen, I think you got your chemistry set.
But I'm yet to get the train sets.
Oh, well, there you go. We need to have a whip round to get you your train set, I think, Buffy. So you mentioned Morecambe Bay there. So which region of the UK are you currently in? Nothing too specific, but which is your
So
area, your stomping
I'm
ground?
currently in Lancashire.
Oh, excellent! We have had a couple of people from Lancashire already on. That's wonderful. And you've been detecting. So yourself, you've been detecting for how many years would you say? If it's just before the
Oh,
detectors came on.
I I think it might be 2015 at a guess, maybe before that. I can't remember
Yeah,
exactly when I bought the detector.
so a good 8 years.
Yeah, so that was the C scope. But I wanted a better metal detector. Like I said, my dad at the time was quite ill, and he was at the end stages of cancer.
Oh,
And just before he died, he said to my brother and me that he wanted to give us some money so we could go out and buy something that we'd always wanted, but something that was just a little bit too expensive to really just go
oh,
out and
yeah,
splash out. So I knew what I wanted. I wanted a metal detector, and so
yes,
he gave us £1,000 each.
yeah.
And that's what I spent the money on. And he died shortly after that. But yeah, it was such a nice thing to do, and it's yeah, real passion and hobby of mine.
Yeah, so that in itself, that generous gift has also given you such a gift, hasn't it? In your
It has, and every time I go out, I always think of my dad as well.
yeah,
Maybe he's
oh,
watching.
that's lovely. Yes, especially when you find those good finds, you'll be like, yes,
Yeah,
thank you,
yeah.
Dad, thank you, Dad. Oh, that's really lovely. So apart from detecting and the history, the next question is, what does metal detecting as your hobby give to you? So obviously one thing, it gives you that connection to your dad as well. What else does the hobby give to you?
Well, for me, it's I find it's really good for my mental health because I actually well, I'm autistic and currently suffering from PTSD from working as a nurse through COVID. And
Wow.
I do find it quite difficult to get out of the house. But having that as an aim and a goal to go out and metal detect, and especially if I'm with someone or someone takes me out, it really really helps to be outside and be outside in the fresh air and meet other people. And I've made
Yeah.
such good friends as well through metal detecting. And it's actually the digging, it's, I know it doesn't sound like much, but it can be quite a lot of physical exertion and digging those holes all day. And
Yes.
actually the chemicals from the soil, they are actually give you they're supposed to be very good for depression and lifting your mood. It's supposed to be help those endorphins,
Oh
and it's a bit
wow.
like forest bathing. It's supposed to be very good for you to be outside and be out in nature. And you do see a lot of nature as well. You see hares, and we've just been just been out to the east, southeast, detecting, and we saw deer and foxes and all sorts. It's just, yeah, it's brilliant being outside.
It's wonderful, isn't it? It can take your breath away on some days, the amount of things and bits and pieces you see, and we're privileged to see. But I love to hear that, especially from yourself, Buffy, that the soil, is it the particles that get into the air, or is it just being around the soil? What do you think it is that
It can be being around the soil, the actual the digging. It's the chemicals in the soil can actually make you feel good. It's supposed to lift this depression.
Wow, that's
and
wonderful.
all round good feeling, especially when you stick your head in that hole and take a really good sniff of the soil. Yeah, it's difficult to describe unless you do, but yeah, it's a really good feeling. Soil sniffer.
Well, yeah, soil sniffers. Yes, you're going to start a new trend. I love that. That is brilliant. And thank you for your service and your time during COVID in NHS. Without people like yourself, it would have been
I wanted to do.
awful.
I wanted to be part of that team that were helping people to be well and get back to. Everyone kept saying get back to normal, but I just wanted things to return to as they were. And if I could be a part of that, helping people, then I jumped at the chance and did everything I could.
Yes, and I'm sure you made a massive difference. And now metal detecting hopefully will help you in your recovery and your PTSD. And I like that you've got that to go to, and then obviously you could go out on your own or with other people. And I've got a question on that later on, actually. What is your detecting gear then, Buffy? We've talked about the first detector and then your awesome detector. So do you want to give us a run through of what gear you're actually using these days?
Yeah, so I've just upgraded from an Equinox 800, which I found my best find, and upgraded to an Equinox 900. And I was quite tearful. I was quite attached to my other detector. And the person who came and picked it up, it actually happened whilst I was out because I don't think I could let it go. But he came and picked it up and took it away, and the 900 turned up, and I didn't want to know, and I didn't want to use it, and I kept saying I can't get used to it. I don't know what it does. I don't know what all the beeps are. But so it's actually it's brilliant. And whilst we were out, just on this holiday we've been on, we found 13 hammered coins between us.
What?
Cut quarters, cut halves, and actually a gold hammered coin as well.
Wow.
And I can't say whether the 800 would have found those as well, but that's the most we've ever found. And it's very, very sensitive. It's opened up the range of things we find.
Amazing, wonderful. What pinpointer do you use, or do you use a pinpointer?
Yeah, the Garrett Pro, the Carrot, everyone calls it.
Carrot. Yes, yeah, that's a favourite, isn't it?
Yeah, it seems to be the best one.
Yeah.
In my opinion.
We all have our favourites, don't we? That's the thing, and we find it, and then we're not sure until we try other stuff. So, yeah, good to hear on the Garrett. And then in terms of your hand trowel and your shovel or spade, what do you prefer to use?
Yeah, I do have a hand trowel, but I find it just keeps falling out of my bag. And I took it out a few weeks ago for the first time in ages, and it did fall out of my bag, and I lost it. But luckily, I went back and found it again. But yeah, it seems to be more of a pain than being helpful. Although it's good if you're in soil which is quite stony when the soil is shallow.
So you've got all your bits and pieces there, and then you go out and have a wonderful day. What is your favourite find so far?
Well, I've got lots of finds that I absolutely love. Probably my best find would be my little gold book. And when I first found it, the newspapers described it as a Bible. But I've been told it's not a Bible. Well, it's not. It's and a professor from I think Bristol University wrote up did a write up a report, very bluntly pointing out it's not a Bible. It's okay, it's not. I didn't call it a Bible. The journalist did, but it's difficult to describe what it is because it's never been seen before. So we had to call it something.
Sure.
And it's been looked at by Kevin Leahy from the British Museum, who's the medieval small finds expert, I think. I'm not sure of his exact title. And he has said that it's a bookmark. It's solid
Oh,
gold rather than being gold plated, but it is actually hollow. It's in the shape of a book. It's very small. It's
yes.
1.7 centimeters by 1.5, hand engraved. It's got two saints on it, on the what would be the open pages, although it doesn't actually open. It's fixed in this position.
Yeah.
On the left hand side is St Leonard, and on the right hand side is St Margaret of Antioch, and they are two patron saints of difficult childbirth and pregnancy.
Oh,
So it's believed, and evidence would suggest so because of where it was found, because it was found outside the moat of Sheriff Hutton Castle in Yorkshire, which was one of the households of Richard III. So it's believed that it would have been owned by aristocracy, somebody of the royal household,
yes.
and Edwin has said that it must have been owned by one of these people, because it can't have been owned by, a serf or a peasant or whatever I don't want to call them. Has to have been owned by somebody a very, very high status. So it may have been owned by Richard III's wife, mother, one of the relatives, or one of the royal ladies of the household.
Yes.
And he said that the lady may have used it as a good luck charm or talisman to either get pregnant or to get them through the childbirth process without without dying, or to safely get them through it.
Yeah. It's so beautiful. I'm looking at a picture now and I can see it. I think it must be in the palm of your hand. And as you were describing through the detail on the saints on the pages,
it's amazing, isn't it? 'Cause it's so small.
Yes.
How they did that in the 1400s is just absolutely incredible.
Yeah, it really, really is. How did you feel? Tell me about the moment you found that, from like the signal. Was it an okay signal or a scratchy signal, to when you actually saw it coming out the soil?
We'd literally just walked onto the field. We'd just arrived at the permission, walked down, and leading up to that, I kept getting nuisance phone calls, PPI phone calls, and I was really, really excited to get down and start detecting. People kept ringing me, and I kept having to put all my equipment down and answer the phone, and yes, and say, have you been to sold PPIs? Go away!
I've got things to do.
Put the phone back, pick everything back up, and march down, and there was a point where all the footpaths, 4 footpaths came together. And I thought, logically, that's going to be a place where the most people have passed and have walked.
Yes.
Over, all the hundreds of years that this land has been in use. So I just chose a spot where the land had been ploughed, and when we'd been there previously, I hadn't been able to get onto that bit. And I put 1 foot onto the ground, turned my detector on, and got this signal immediately. And it was a very, very clear, very precise 14 on the Equinox 800. And I just thought it'd be a piece of aluminium. I mean, we had literally just got there.
And it was too sweet of a signel, and then you start to suspect, don't you?
Yes,
You're
it's too good.
It's going to be a can.
So, ding, 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 ding. Oh, God, what's this? It's going to be rubbish. And it sounded like aluminium. It sounded like a ring pull, but normally ring pulls came up as a 15 on my detector. And I know people say, don't take any notice of the numbers, but you do, don't you? Otherwise the screen wouldn't be there if you didn't look at the numbers.
You know, don't you, after a time?
Yeah, you know. And I thought, 14, that's a bit different. I don't normally get 14, but it did sound, it's so clear. It sounded like it was going to be rubbish. So I was kind of agitated from all these nuisance phone calls and started digging it, thinking, let's just get this out of the way and move on to something good. Just put the spade in, about one spade deep, and dug it up, and then with the pinpointer found that it was in that clump. But I couldn't find it, and I kept breaking the clump up to smaller and smaller and smaller and smaller, and it pinpointer kept saying, yes, it's there, keep going. Until there was almost nothing there, and there was this what felt like a stone inside the soil. And I rubbed the soil away because it was quite clayey and wet. And then I saw the shiny gold colour. But sometimes aluminium or tin cans or sheep tags, they're gold when you first take the soil off, and then they turn silver, don't they? So I thought, it's rubbish, what is this rubbish? And kept rubbing the soil away, and then it was all gold. And then I didn't have my glasses on, but I could see these two tiny little faces, and I thought, what's this? This is something interesting. And then as I rubbed virtually all the soil off, and it looked like a book, and I thought, what's this? Is it some sort of pendant? But because no one had ever seen anything like this before, my brain just couldn't work out what it was. And I was thinking, well, maybe it's something, it looked like something from a gift shop, because there's an abbey just up the road. And when you go into the shops and they have the glass cabinets selling jewellery.
Yes,
kind of maybe it's something from there. And I rubbed more soil away. I think, what is it? A photo on my phone. And then I was able to, blow the photo up a little bit, and I could see these two medieval figures looking at me, and they look like they're singing. If you can see the little mouths that they go,
yes.
and I thought, and then I started to think, actually, this does look really nice, but my brain still wouldn't accept that it was anything good, because I don't find really, really good things, silver, sixpences, sheep tags, all the usual rubbish. That's all I ever find. I never ever expected to find something really amazing. I just couldn't. My brain just could not accept that it was something good. So I took a photo and I sent it to my husband, who was in the other field by then. He'd walked off quite a distance. And he rang me, and he said, all he said was, they're going to take that off you and you're never going to see it again, and then hung up again. What does he mean?
Jealous much.
And so then I thought, well, I still don't know what it is. So I put it onto one of the Facebook groups and said, just dug this up, could be something, ? And then started getting loads and loads of comments saying that it was something, and are you joking? You've got to be kidding me. But I still couldn't accept that it was something. And then I got a phone call from I think it was Julian Evans Hart, or maybe his partner, and they were quite excited and said that it was something good. And then I started getting loads of phone calls, and I can't actually remember the order of who rang me. And then I started getting very excited, and I started shaking. And then I couldn't move. I actually couldn't move from the spot because I was so excited and scared that I'd found something so amazing, because I was getting, so much feedback from it. A walker actually came along, and they, saw the metal detector and said, "Oh, you metal detecting?" So,
found anything good?
Found anything good? And I said, "Actually, yeah, I think I have." And I showed them, and they were excited, and they took some photos of it, of me holding it, and then I couldn't move from the spot. I was stuck there for about an hour, and I tried to sit down and I tried to stand up, but I was shaking so much. And then eventually Ian came over, and I said, I really need a cup of tea and a slice of cake. I really need it. So we went back, and I couldn't sleep for a week, and I kept waking up and checking it was there. And I was so worried that somebody was going to try and steal it or break in. But yeah, absolutely. I cannot describe how excited and how happy I was with finding it. And it's absolutely, you can't see it from the photos, but it is absolutely stunningly beautiful. And when the sunlight catches that engraving, it sends prisms of light back off them like a
Oh,
diamond. It actually
yeah.
glitters,
Oh,
and
wow.
it is it's really sad that no one's ever going to be able to touch it again, and hold it and feel it, because it does have a kind of magic about it.
Mm.
Don't want to get all like, whimsical and magical, but it really did feel like it had an aura about it, and to think that it may have been held by someone from the royal household, possibly royalty,
Mm.
and they dropped
Yeah.
it, and they may have been holding on to it for dear life, trying to get them through childbirth. It is something
Yeah.
special.
Yeah. A highly personal
Yeah,
item.
yeah. And the fact that it's a female piece, and being a
Yeah.
woman, I found it, I also had felt that additional connection to it.
Yeah, very special as well, especially with your profession as well, and
Yeah,
the
yeah,
cause that the item would have had. So what happened next then? Obviously, you reported it in, and then it
yeah.
got took off to be looked at. Where is it now?
It's actually locked up at the Yorkshire Museum, and it's been declared treasure. And I believe the next process, the next stage of the process, is the TVC valuation.
Brilliant. And then hopefully to go on display so everybody can go and have a look.
Yes, so everyone can see it, which would be amazing.
Yeah.
Before I handed it in, we took it to our friend who is a specialist in micro jewelry.
Mm-hmm.
Because I just wanted someone to look at it and actually confirm that it really was medieval, even though I had, so many people telling me it was. I wanted a real expert to look at it.
Yeah.
And his partner is a midwife. So we were telling him about it and telling her about it in history, and the fact that it was made to get somebody through childbirth and to help them get pregnant at the time. And she said, "Do you mind if I hold it?" And I said, "No, fine." And she said, "I'm just on my way. I've just had a phone call from a lady who's gone into labour. Do you mind if I hold it and just say a little something for a minute before I go?" So it was actually used for its original purpose, just one last time
Wow.
before it went to the museum.
That's a magnificent story. Wow.
Yeah.
There you
Yeah.
go. Whew, gave me the chills.
Yeah.
Oh, well, I can't wait for that to turn up in the actual museum somewhere so that people
I
can go and
can't wait to
see.
see it again. We did actually see it again when Kevin Leahy looked at it, because we were being filmed for a Channel 5 programme. And they got it out of the safe, and Kevin looked at it, and I asked if I could hold it again, and they said I couldn't, and no one was allowed to touch it. And they did all this in the Grand Library and closed it all off to the public, and there were lots of museum officials standing around making sure that no one touched it and nothing untoward happened to it. And I was saying to them, you do realise that I dug this up with a spade and then balanced on top of a rock to take a picture of it. And they're saying, "Please don't tell us that."
Oh, no. Well, it's a sign of how absolutely special it is, isn't it? That they wouldn't even let you touch it again. So well done, you.
Yeah.
Wow.
Thank you. I mean, they did eventually. They said, "Oh, you've got to put gloves on."
Yes.
But you can touch it one last time. You can hold it. So I did.
Oh, that's good.
Very special.
That's good. Well done, you. Wow. So nothing really is going to top that for a while, but I'm excited to see what else you're going to find. Yeah. On the flip side, we always ask what a person's weirdest or oddest item is that they've found. Something you've just been a bit like, what was that doing here? Have you got any stories like that?
I dug up another detectorist's rubbish once, and I thought I'd found a hoard. And I kept digging and thinking, what is all this? It was actually rubbish, but I suppose the detectorist must have been there. Didn't want to take all their junk that they'd found home with them, and buried it in another hole. And it was really annoying, so I thought I'd found something interesting.
Oh my
No,
goodness. Well, there you go, folks. That's an example. Always take your rubbish away with you. Do not dig in a hole, make someone think they found a hoard.
no. Makes someone think they found something amazing.
No, that's a good one. I like that one. Okay, so we're going to move on to history specifics. So when you're out and about, or even just in general, cannot be linked to your finds or linked to your finds. Which is your favourite history era for you, Buffy?
I love finding hammered coins, medieval hammered coins, anything really from like the 1100s up to 1500s. I don't know how many other people feel like this, but I love the writing on them. It feels so special to me, and it feels so old. I mean, I know it is so old, but it's amazing to look at it and think of that other time and how people then and dressed and the language, how it's evolved, and society and the rules and what was important to them at the time, which we wouldn't even think about now, and how everything sounded then as well. No sounds of airplanes or traffic or anything, and when you find a crotal bell, and to think that those could have been some of the only sounds, the sounds of bells going. There was nothing else, was there? There was no cars going past, or mobile phones, or televisions, or music.
I often think about the smells of the time. I've never really thought about the sounds, so I love that you've just said that. I'll do that now as well. I often think, like, when you're walking sort of, I'm Hampshire way, so I'll be walking through Winchester, very, very historical town, obviously, or city. And then, I'll often think, wow, just think what it was like at that time, obviously with the horses and the muck everywhere and people just literally lobbing the muck everywhere, their own personal muck everywhere.
I think that sounds quite a lot from being autistic, and how much sounds affect me and my everyday life, and to be in a time where there wasn't all of that noise pollution must have been wonderful. It must have been so much better for your head not to be constantly bombarded with bleeps and roars, and it must have been quite nice.
Pings and bongs, and I'm taking full advantage of the different settings on my mobile phone. I've got one of those fruity type mobile phones, and I finally discovered the focus settings on there, so I can turn all that off, and it's bliss. It really is bliss. I'm right there with you.
Modern life.
Yes, and I've got ADHD, so I'm very much, if I'm into something and then something pings and distracts me, that'll totally take me out of my rhythm, and it's very hard for me to get back into something.
Which is why I don't like being in groups on like Facebook or WhatsApp very much. I mean, I like it because of the social aspect, and I love speaking to people and sharing information and being part of the group. But the constant bings and bongs and going off, I get too drawn in. And people say, "Oh, well, turn off the notifications," and that's fine, but I still know the notifications are coming up, even though I can't hear them. So I have to come out of those things, otherwise I get very drawn in and very distracted.
Yes, absolutely. Okay, so that's fascinating. So does your favourite monarch or emperor link into a similar time period?
I've got lots. I mean, there's something interesting about all of them, I think, but possibly Elizabeth I, because of all the changes she made, and I mean, she's such an icon, isn't she, for women?
Yes, absolutely.
It's just amazing. That particular time, I think, Elizabeth I. But I think any of the women in that time, they had such additional pressures being a woman, and to stand up and fight for what they did and do what they did was, yeah.
Have you found some Elizabeth Hammards?
Yeah, they're not brilliant. They're not the best ever that I've seen. You see so many that pop up on the internet that look amazing. But I do have a Mary coin, which is very good. But
you have a Mary?
Yeah, it's very nice actually. But no, all the Elizabeths, I'd love to find one which has got a really, really nice, clear imprint on it. But most of mine are just a bit smudged.
Wow, I'm very jealous of your Mary. I think we all want a Mary.
It's a very good one. It looks just like something out of Sphinx.
Lovely. So where you are and where you go, it's a nice high history area, and you obviously get a vast range of finds where you are, which is fantastic. That's good to hear.
Well, the northwest isn't actually the best. Obviously, we all know the south and the southeast and the southwest are better. So when we do find a hammered coin up this way, it's a great cause for celebration. Whereas if you go to somewhere like Suffolk and you find 2 hammered coins in a day, as a minimum, it's quite normal, isn't it? You see people that live that way. Oh, another hammered coin, or people finding fibulas. I'd love to find a fibula or a stater. I mean, just to see one, I'd just absolutely love to see a gold stater.
Yes. How do you go about getting your permission, securing your permission? So this is kind of like an educational piece to sort of let other detectorists know perhaps good ways about trying to get a permission.
Mostly around here, we would just go up to a farmer and ask them, but it's not all that successful. We went to one farm, and we always get really, really nervous about it because some people they're very defensive and they don't want you on their land, which is fine. It's their land. You can't tell them how to feel about people walking onto their farm, and it's their private property. So that is their right.
Yeah.
So we get really nervous and we're saying, you ask. And we sort of walk up, and this one guy saw us walking towards his house, and he turned up on his quad bike, but he wasn't sat on it. He was like stood up on it with his dog on the back, and he had a gun strapped at the back as well. And what do you want? We're just coming to ask. We're keen historians and amateur metal detectorists. We live just around the corner. We were just wondering whether you would mind giving us permission to check on your land. No. And then he sort of calmed down and he said, but thank you for coming to ask, because most people don't even ask. And I think that was the problem, that people had been on there and not asked, and that upset him.
Yeah.
But he said, he's grateful for us asking, but no, thank you. But other people have been. One lady, we knocked on the door and told her why we were there, and she said, "Oh, lovely, come in. I found some old coins. Come and sit down, have a cup of tea." And
lovely.
That was brilliant.
Yeah.
But it's much easier if you know someone, or at least they know you.
Yes.
And we've also been told that once you're actually on a permission, farmers talk to the other neighbouring farmers, and they know you're there, so you might be more likely to get on adjoining fields or neighbouring fields if you're a good, respectable detectorist.
Yes.
Adhere to all the rules and laws and do it all properly, then you're much more likely to get another permission.
Yeah.
By word of mouth.
That's key.
But it is very difficult, and it's really scary going to ask because of people's reactions.
It is.
But you can understand it. I mean, you wouldn't want somebody in your back garden that you didn't know, or coming into your home, well, not your home, but your land, that you had no idea who they are. Land that they own, that they've bought, or they've got a mortgage on, which they care a lot about.
Good advice. I like that. Yeah, you're very right. And obviously they do experience a lot of problems with nighthawkers, as you say, but then poachers, people with letting their dogs roam, you know, around sheep and stuff. They do deal with it a lot.
Yeah.
So definitely. Okay, so we're going to move on to the bucket lister section now. So I think we've got some cogs turning in part of our conversation. So what item are you really looking for on your own personal bucket list?
Probably a Saxon find of some sort. I would just absolutely love to see one of those little Saxon coin faces. It would just be so exciting to see something so old. It would be a real privilege to find something like that. It would blow my mind. And apart from that, a stater, and it's not because these items can be very valuable. It's not that at all. I'm just really interested in how old they are, and the fact that they've been lying in the ground for that long. It's just incredible. And people walking over the top of it, and the land being ploughed, and animals walking over it, and they survive, and you pick them up maybe 1,000 years later. It's just, I love it.
The first person to touch it again. That's always wonderful, isn't it?
Yeah, it's just the fact that it's just so old, and you're holding it in your hand, you know, against your skin. It's just, that's chills. And also a fibula of some sort, Roman, or any kind of a Saxon brooch. Yeah, again, something Saxon. Yeah, that would be amazing.
All good choices, and all also on my personal list. So I'm right there with you.
What's on your list then?
Oh, on my list. So I would want to find a Saxon coin, a stater, any bit of gold. I've not found gold yet. I have found a Roman fibula, a very early one, a Colchester 1 AD fibula. That was an amazing day when that fell out the cod. That was just unbelievable. But to be honest, I just love everything I find that's not trash.
Yeah, I do.
Even if it's like a certain type of button, a military button. I love to just clean it up and research it, and but I'm really excited for my gold dance whenever that happens. I didn't ask you actually, did you do a gold dance when you found your first gold, whatever your first gold was?
I did. Well, my first gold was my little gold bookmark.
Oh, that was your first?
That was my first gold find, yeah.
Wow, Buffy.
And I did do a dance, but my husband Ian was walking over to me from the other field, and I was doing a dance. But he wouldn't look at me because he was so filled with jealousy and envy that I found this thing that he wouldn't look, he wouldn't acknowledge my gold dance. So no one ever saw it. Thank God.
Well, we all bow to you and acknowledge your gold dance there, Buffy. You deserve your gold dance and earned it.
Yeah.
Okay, so we have our ultimate bucket lister list. So each week our guests choose one item to place on the ultimate bucket lister list for new and old detectorists alike. It is something I can research and put on and it helps people sort of formulate a list. If they hadn't thought of that item before, maybe it will get the cogs turning and go, actually, I'd like to find one of those too. So Buffy, what item would you like to place on our ultimate bucket lister list?
I'd like to find something like the treasure from Sutton Hoo. So I'd like
She's gone big, everybody. She's gone big.
Yeah. Some gold filigree, some gems gem encrusted. Yeah, stick that
Saxon
on the
gold.
ultimate bucket list.
Right, okay.
I never expect to find anything like that, but ultimate bucket list, put that on. And again, not for the value, just because it's so pretty and so intricate and just amazing to think that they would have made that without any of the technology that they have these days. And maybe we shouldn't be completely amazed that they made it, but I just am, and I love to think of them people, all that time ago making these things.
You're right, the detail and the quality, it reemerges, and it's just wow, that ultimate wow factor. Brilliant.
Yeah.
Okay, that's good. And you mentioned Sutton Hoo as well, so I shall mention more about the Sutton Hoo in the extras episode. Thank you very much. So we're coming to the end of the main section now, Buffy. Is there anything you'd like to promote? You mentioned you were on a TV show. Anything coming up in the future you'd like to promote at all?
It's Digging for Treasure on Channel 5, and I'm on episode 3 if anybody's interested. You can see me crying when I hold my find again.
Oh, bless. It's such a special thing, such a special moment. I do not blame you. Yeah, I think I might cry, actually. Yeah, a tear might come when I find my first gold in amongst my gold ants.
It's so overwhelming. Yeah.
Brilliant. Well, Buffy, thank you so much for coming on to the Detecting History podcast and sharing your amazing story. So interesting talking to you. Really enjoyed it today. And I hope that when we go around to the second season, we'll get you on again and see what else you've found. I've got a feeling you'll soon be finding your status and your Saxon bits and pieces.
I hope so.
All right. Thanks very much, Buffy. Take care.
Thank you.
Bye.
Thank you. Bye.
There you go, everyone. That was Buffy Winship Bailey. And Buffy was on the programme Digging for Treasure with Dan Walker and Michaela Strachan, amongst other people. You can find that show on My 5, Season 1, Episode 3. So you'll be able to see the lovely gold book, which was thought to be the end of a silk bookmark from around the 15th to early 16th century in all its glory. It really is beautiful. So if you didn't see in midweek, there was an extra episode that appeared on your podcast player. We are now moving to 2 episodes a week. So on a Wednesday, you'll get the podcast extras episode where you'll hear about our guest's perfect detecting day, as well as more information about the item that our guest placed on the ultimate detecting bucket lister list. So don't forget, we have a Patreon. So go to patreon.com, Detecting History Podcast, and you can get hold of the episodes earlier than anyone else, as well as some other exclusive bits and pieces that you can find on Patreon. And we have our shop, so etsy.com/detecting history pod for some merch and some t-shirts and all that good stuff. I look forward to speaking to you throughout the week on Instagram, and catch you next time.